We are live, all right.
But let's wait. I think we need to wait. Megan,
so
you'll be able to see a few people log on first. See,
Yeah.
that's how that works.
We will stand here
We'll wait for maybe
and
about
see if a few people get on with us.
maybe 20 or 25 people
and if
log
not,
on.
we'll just be recording and they'll be able to watch it later.
And once people log on, maybe they can
We have one person watching us.
maybe they can
Two.
let us know if they can understand the words we're saying.
Okay, Alejandro is going to speak and you're going to let us know if you're watching, if you can understand him.
Hey guys, before we get started, we were a little worried about the sound being too echoey. So if you're watching, can you just comment and let us know if you can hear us clearly? Not just volume-wise, but you can understand us.
Father Brad, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, ma'am, a few words. The idea here is to test the sound quality because if it's just not at all
We'll move.
intelligible, we'll move.
So if you're watching, Gail says she can understand us. Christy's watching, but she didn't comment. And 3 other people are watching as well. So, but Gail says, yes, I can understand you.
Who, Christy Pointer? Powers?
Christy Spatafor.
Spatafor. Hey, Christy, if you can understand me, clearly, let me know. Let us know.
Justin Deacon says, sounds good. Sandy Handley says, it's not very loud, but she can understand.
Perfect.
So we have 10 people watching now. We are moving up in the world. Oh, more understanding and more hearing.
Oh,
from
very
Lisa
good.
and Barbara and Christy.
So this is working so far.
Justin says, the louder that you talk, the better.
Oh,
And
that's how
Elizabeth
that
Carlisle
works.
says, sounds fine. So hello, everyone.
So 10 people, huh?
Yeah.
That's our audience.
11. We're climbing. We're climbing. So you might just start, and if
Yeah.
they come in late, they can watch it back later. We're up to 13.
All right. Shall I just start?
Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today on what I guess is our 9th little weekly chat. In some ways, this one is going to be the most complicated of all because we're wanting to discuss our reconvening procedures. We hope to begin public masses in a very limited way this weekend. Now, there are, I guess, a few fundamental things that I want to say, and then after that I'm going to back away. And I know Alejandro will have a lot to talk with you about, but maybe the most basic thing is this. The next few weeks to few months are going to require perhaps an unprecedented amount of patience from you good folks, and you know, me too. I'll tell you, this stuff isn't easy for me either, but we're going to have to be patient because we're living in an experimental time, a time full of provisional protocols, a time that's very fluid. The things that we're obligated to do in the next few weeks, we may well adjust them significantly by the end of the month. And so I guess my advice, my request is that you not get too browned off about anything and that you not get too dependent upon anything because this is a very experimental time. That's the first thing. You know, I also want to acknowledge that some of this stuff is going to be controversial. There are a variety of opinions, a variety of approaches about these protocols. Understand that we don't have a choice in a lot of these things. It's incumbent upon us to do what we do, even right on down to dotting the I's and crossing the T's from the diocese and from the city of Kansas City. Also, if there was a clear destination in all of this, even that would make it helpful. But we don't even know what the end looks like. It's just going to be a week by week and even day by day kind of thing. Now, some of you folks wonder why we're opening at all, and I must say I share that a little bit myself. I think that raw case numbers of COVID-19 in our metropolitan area are continuing to rise, albeit at a slightly lower level. And so I wonder, why open at all? The bishop's not obligating us to open. I think there are some churches in the diocese that are not opening. Some of you might be inclined to think, well, we're doing it for financial reasons, and I want to dispel that. Very many of you have been so faithful and so dependable in your moral and financial contributions to visitations such that, well, right now, we are not in financial peril. Everything's okay that way. So that's not why we're opening. I'm proceeding with opening because so many of you have expressed a desire to access the Holy Eucharist and other sacraments, and I believe that you should have that access. Now, for the very many of you who are in high-risk health categories or who otherwise question your personal safety in this contagion, please understand, Bishop Johnston has suspended the obligation to attend Mass on the Lord's Day. He has suspended the Easter duty. You know, if you feel fearful about coming back here, altogether understandable. If you're over the age of 60, or whatever your age, and you are reluctant to come back here, please understand, that's cool. That's all right. We love you, and we look forward to seeing you again, but don't feel guilty about it. And I know some of you do because you express it to me. Please try to let go of that and do what's best for you and best for your family. Now, having said that, I want to add this. No matter how ardent you are about coming back to church and coming back to the sacraments, if you are ill, if you are symptomatic, please don't come back here. Really, folks, we owe that to each other. I'm healthy as the day I was born, but if that changes, I won't be back. I'll go down the road 170 miles, and you won't see me for a long, long time. You know, that would be a lot for me to do, wouldn't it? But that's how serious I am about this. If you're symptomatic, don't come. Okay, before I turn this over to Alejandro, I want to talk about our schedule. It is severely truncated, and it has to be. We're looking at only 2 weekend masses for the time being. This is going to go on for at least 3 weeks and perhaps more. But our weekend mass schedule are going to be Saturday at 4 o'clock. We'll have confessions at 3, and then the mass will be at 4 o'clock on Saturday, and then on Sunday morning, 9 o'clock. So Saturday at 4, Sunday at 9. And then we'll have weekday mass too, and that will be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and all of them will be at 8:15. There will be only one weekday mass. There will be no communion services, all right? And all the weekday masses, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, will be at 8:15. And get this now, folks, they're going to have to be here in the big church. They got to be here in the big church. Now, why this truncated schedule? The biggest reason is because we have to thoroughly sanitize this place between all liturgical services. And the bigger church is more conducive to that. And it's less conducive to the spread of COVID-19. At this point, we don't know very well how long it's going to even take to sanitize between these masses. So for now, that's why the truncated schedule. As time goes on and the diocese and the city allow us to add more masses, rest assured that we will do this. The guiding principle, whenever you're here, is, besides what I said about patience, remember our social distancing requirements. There need to be a minimum of 6 feet between every parish household, no matter how large or small it is. Okay, I don't want to hog all the time here, So I'm going to shut up, and Alejandro and Megan have some things they want to say. If I feel like I need to come back in and offer a comment, why, I'll do that. So thank you, Megan. Thank you, Alejandro, and thank you, folks.
So Alejandro, are you going to start with the questions that have already been asked, or are you going to start with some other points?
You know, maybe we start with a few points. I'm wondering, should we talk about sign up afterwards? Okay.
I'll talk about that.
Hey guys, Alejandro here. I just wanted to come on and talk briefly. Yes, sir.
Will you tell all the nice people what you do here at Sunlight.com?
If you haven't seen this pretty face before, I am the liturgy and music director here at Visitation. My role is, most people see me, my most visual part is the music aspect here at Visitation, but I'm also in charge of just making sure all the liturgical matters, all the ministers involved in liturgy are coordinated and take place. So it's a whole gamut of music and liturgy and ritual. So part of my role is just figuring out how we're going to make this work, and you know, the staff has been helping with this as well. Online, you might have got an email, and on that email, you would have seen a list of protocols that we're going to begin here at Visitation. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, and then I think we're going to answer some questions, okay? One thing, Father Brad, he was talking about the schedule, that we have a 4 o'clock and a 9 o'clock. I want to add, and I know he's said this before, we are still going to continue a virtual liturgy, okay? Our hope and our goal is to make that a live stream video. We've been working pretty diligently on getting the sound and the video. There's a lot of variables, and I don't want to bore you with all the variables. It's like if you do this one thing, then this other thing's affected, and we're just trying to find that happy middle ground. So, but rest assured, we're going to take care of it for you, okay? And it's going to be at Sunday at 9 a.m., okay? And it's possible, for sure it's going to be on our YouTube channel, and maybe I'll have another device as a backup going to Facebook, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Like Father Brad said, this first weekend is going to be a little bit of an experiment. Okay. I don't know if Father Brad just said this, I don't think so. Right now we're at 10% capacity, so that means we're going to only be able to have 105 people total in this church, okay? And I know we're going to talk about sign up in just a little bit. I'm going to let Megan talk about that, so I'm going to skip past the sign up part, but just to let you know, right now we have a capacity of 105 people with social distancing. Masks. Perhaps this might fall for some of you under the category of the controversy. I don't know. Some of you have maybe opinions about it. The bishop has required us that when we come into church, and anytime we're outside of our pew, really, for communion procession and for leaving the church, we are needing to wear a mask, okay? And if you are a person who that's a problem for, we'll respect that, but we do have to have everybody here wearing a mask, so it'd probably be best that you don't come. One thing I will say on the topic of masks, there's been a lot of information coming about worry about singing. As a choir director, it's like this bombshell has been dropped on us. There's been no mandate that we cannot continue with communal singing. So, where did I leave my mask?
It's under your papers.
So, I don't love this idea, but I'm just going to encourage all of you to wear a mask while singing. So, it'll sound a little bit like this. Holy, holy, holy. And this will just help. Yeah. So, when you're in your pew singing, you can wear the mask. All right, I'm going to kind of try to keep going through here pretty quickly. Virtual liturgy guides. Right now, if you were able to scan the whole church, you would see that right now there are no hymnals in the pews, okay? And we took them out. And we are not allowed to hand out liturgy guides. We're not allowed to hand out bulletins. So, we're going to make the liturgy guide, like we have been for virtual masses, available online. and I think they'll be out on Friday, okay? So you could print them at home, and I encourage you to do that. You can bring them to Mass. You just have to take them home with you. You can't leave them here. Or, and this will be something new, you can actually follow along on the liturgy guide with your cell phone or an iPad, whatever you have. And so it's available online, so you could do that in your pew if you wanted to, okay? So that'll be on that email that you get every week and on our homepage, okay? So those are the liturgy guides and bulletins. So arriving at Mass, we're going to have a few ushers to help with some of the logistics of people walking in and walking out, processing in. There is going to be someone to direct you to a sign-in. And so if you're one of the lucky few who are able to get one of our available spots this weekend, we have a list, and we do ask that you check in with the person signing people off so that we have accountability of just everyone who's here. That helps us manage how many people we have in the church. It just also lets us know if there's any available spots. But it just keeps track of the people, right? Okay, so then going to your pew. We're going to rope off every other pew. It's really going to be tape. But we're going to tape off every other pew to help with the social distancing. We don't feel comfortable telling where every individual has to sit. So that's a little bit an honor system, right? Where we're going to let you, you can choose to sit wherever you wish, just maintain that social distancing. Ushers will be in each main aisle, so you can ask them for assistance if you want them to help you find a spot. If there is some distancing that we need to adjust, they might just nicely ask you if moving over a little bit just to make sure we're minding that social distancing. So any help with making that an easy process is so appreciated. If there are smaller families, like families of two or households of two, I should say, you can share a pew. I mean, our pews are long enough where you could be social distance within one pew, okay? So however it works out, just making sure that distancing is there. So you can still sit in your favorite pew unless it's taped off. Okay. Again, you can take your mask off when you're in your pew, unless maybe for singing. The communion procession logistics, I'm not going to get into the weeds about, okay? Father Brad, or the presider for the liturgy, will just briefly explain that process. So I don't want to get too far with that, but there will be a little bit of a process of each section going to communion individually. Again, minding social distancing. Maybe the one thing I will say on this video is when you come forward, leave your mask on. Receive the Eucharist. Keep your hand flat. That'll avoid contact. So keep your hand flat, okay? With your mask on, you would say amen. Step to the side. Consume the Eucharist. Mask back on. Back to your pew. For some of you, that might seem kind of tedious, and I get that, but we're just trying to be consistent. Okay. Leaving Mass. The ushers are going to just help facilitate that. The presider will explain that logistics. The only thing I will say without getting into the weeds is we'll be using different doors, okay, for different sections to leave. So I think I'll just leave it at that because the instructions will make more sense when you're in the building. We will have some hand sanitizer here for the Eucharistic ministers and for if anybody does end up needing it, but we do encourage you to bring your own from home. And as Father Brad said, the church will be sanitized after each liturgy. Any other little things are, the sign of peace, we're not going to exchange, well, within a household you can exchange peace in it any way you want, just not in between households can you do any physical touch. The collection baskets. We're going to have collection baskets in the narthex. So when you arrive or when you leave, you can leave any contribution that you would wish to leave in those baskets. We're not going to be bringing up the gifts. We're not going to be bringing the money forward. Holy water fonts continue to be empty, and we have a temporary baptismal font for any baptisms we have.
We'll just take a look at that real quick. There it is.
Yeah, and we'll have some flowers next to it as well. Okay, that's really high level. Any questions that, I know Megan had a few questions that some people asked. And if you have a question, go ahead and throw it up there.
Do you want to answer those?
I'm-
I think you answered the third one already.
Okay, and if I can't answer them, Megan or Father Brad will. Sign up, if you have any sign up questions, Megan's going to address sign up in just a little bit here.
Okay, so the first question, are those over 60 welcome at weekday mass?
So if you're over 60, the bishop has just said, if you feel you're at risk, please feel comfortable staying home, but by no means are we putting up barriers to any persons, okay? So you're welcome to come.
That's weekday or weekend.
That's right, that's right.
Do we need to sign up for weekday mass?
Right now, you don't need to sign up for weekday masses. We're going to just kind of look to see how that is going. We think it'll be fine without any sign up. But over this next week, we'll just kind of see how attendance is, and if we feel like that threshold of 105 is at risk, we might have to start doing a sign up, but right now, no.
And then the other one is about the signups.
Okay. So if there's not any questions, are there any questions right now on the feed?
No one has put a question through on the feed that I can see. I've been watching. I'm just seeing names of people who are watching.
Alrighty. So, Megan, do you want to talk about signups?
I'm going to just turn the camera around. Hi, everyone. Megan Brodowski here, your Stewardship Director and your Chief Communications Officer. And I want to say that I have heard from those of you who expressed some frustration or disappointment not being able to sign up yesterday when we put the sign up out for this weekend's masses. It filled up quicker than any of us ever dreamed. We had no idea that so many of you were eager to get back here and that it would fill up so quickly. And originally our plan had been to put the same kind of sign up out every week, but after hearing from so many of you in the last 12 to 18 hours, and all of those emails came to me, I have dozens of them from you, and I've read every one, and I've tried to respond to those for which I had an answer, and if I haven't responded yet, it's because I didn't have the answer yet, and I will get back to you. But we are considering a different system. We are thinking that we will use a system that some of our neighboring parishes have used, where households would opt in to attend weekend mass, and after opting in, we would randomly select families each weekend from those who had opted in, and once you've attended, you would go out of the pool until all of the pool had been exhausted, and then we would put you all back in again. That's the way we think it might be fairest and most equitable. This is not a done deal yet, because we are going to talk about it in our staff meeting and make sure we have the mechanisms in place to make that work. But if we can make that work, that's probably what we will do next week. So I would watch for information really early, like Monday next week, about opting in if we choose to go that route. So for those who were too late this weekend, we would say that if we start the opt-in procedure, everyone that is coming this weekend would not be in the pool until for next week, or until all in the pool had been exhausted. So if you are coming this week, chances are you won't be able to come next week. And we're sorry that not everybody can come, but for at least 3 weeks and maybe longer, we are held to this 10% occupancy by the city. Somebody is asking about for guests visiting in the parish, is there a sign-up procedure? And we haven't created that yet. We had every intention of our procedure to be completely public beyond our parishioners, but yesterday we sent out the email and we were actually full before today when we were going to put it on our website, so it didn't go on the website today. I do believe for those of you who were disappointed last night, when I looked earlier, right before this Facebook Live, there were 2 spots available for, I believe, the 4 p.m. Mass, because a family had canceled. So if you were one of those disappointed people and you can hop on real quick, you might be able to get one of those 2 spots. We did have a couple of cancellations, and one of those family spots got taken up really quickly, and the other one was still there as of about 45 minutes ago. So if it's there, it's somebody's. For guests, I would say if you know you're a guest and not a member of our parish and you are going to be in town for a weekend and you want to be in our pool for that weekend, you should probably call the parish office and we would see if we could get you in. We want you here if we can have you, but it's just really hard at this point. There's just too many restrictions and it's too difficult to communicate with those who are not our parishioners on a regular basis. That question came in on the feed. I haven't had any new questions. Father Brad, is there anything you can think of we need to talk about? Or Alejandro? I'm going to turn the camera back around to the stairs.
Yeah, there are a couple things that occur to me. As you might imagine, us priest types talk to each other, and a couple other places, they've adopted this means of signing up for people to come back to church. And you know, they've told me they're not getting very many people. You know, they're not filling up. And it's been suggested that perhaps it would be that way here, but it wasn't. And I mean, that's edifying to me. You folks just, you filled that up right now. And that's great. And of course, when we're able to, we'll add masses to accommodate more numbers, but that's at least 3 weeks off. You know, I'm going to broach this now, but I can't nail it down. Because of cleaning requirements, they're so stringent. It is, and now with so many more people, I think will be coming to Mass every day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's very possible that there's going to come a time when we need to lock the church. I hate that. I just hate it. But I'm just putting you on notice. We may need to adopt a policy where we're only open 3 or 4 hours a day. I don't know what those hours are going to be yet. They'll almost certainly be in the morning, but it's probably going to have to come to that for a while. The only other thing that it occurs to me to say right now, I think we're going to keep on doing these chats every week because we can't hand out bulletins. And I don't want to go to the trouble of going back to my little visitations when we can't hand out bulletins. So, you know, it takes a while to do those, and maybe it's a better use of my time to keep doing these things. I know some of you prefer these things anyway. I'm a little visitation guy. I'd rather write it, but we're going to have to keep doing this for now. Anyway, that's what occurs to me. Can you two think of anything?
I realize I said our capacity is 105, and you might be looking at the sign up and seeing that there's only 92 spots and not 105. And I just want to let you know that all the ministers, the priests, the cantor, organist, ushers, Eucharistic ministers, lector, sacristan, all those count. So we already subtracted about 15 people who would be serving in some capacity. So if that raised a red flag for you, that's why.
Yeah. Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, and if you don't say what I want you to say, I'm going to say what you need to say that you don't remember.
Okay, yeah, because I don't remember it. But I want to talk about weekday masses. Let's see, Father Carlito Saballo will be the celebrant for Tuesdays and Thursdays for the time being, and I'll be the celebrant for Wednesdays, Fridays. And I know some of you might be wondering, well, why? And the reasons have to do with the requirements of Father Carlito's religious community and what we've been asked to do as a parish to respond to those. So it's not because I'm laying up in bed, eating crackers and peanut butter or anything. It's just we have to do it that way. So that's what I wanted to say. What did you want to say?
I'm going to turn it back around so they're looking at me because I don't want them to see your face when I say this. But the bishop has put out a request that the priests not to greet you when you are coming into Mass nor when you are leaving Mass because of the need to keep households socially distant. If you stop and talk to him, then you're holding up everybody behind you at getting out of the church, or you're not allowing us to maintain the social distancing. So he is not happy about that, and he doesn't quite understand why. And Alejandro, I think, put in the document that you were able to read yesterday that we are not being standoffish or anything like that. We want to talk to you. All of us on staff miss you terribly and want to talk to you, but we just can't right now. If you want to talk to us, please call us. We'd love to talk to you, just not when you're coming in or leaving Mass on Sunday. So I knew he wasn't going to say that and thought maybe I should put that out there for you.
Exactly.
We're back.
Okay, Megan tells me we're back. We had a little technical difficulty there. We often have technical difficulties, and I'm pretty confident we'll continue to have technical difficulties, but anyway, we're back. So I was in the process of responding to Megan's comment about the diocese not allowing staff members, including myself, to converse with you coming and going. Can't I stand 20 feet away and wave?
You can wave.
Hot dog.
And it's just you can't be in the way of the exits to where you
Right.
to where you impede the traffic flow.
Right, we can't create what they call pinch points. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to be around waving somewhere if I have to walk out to the parking lot to do it. So,
I figured you'd do that.
yeah. You guys got anything?
Anything
I-
else,
I-
Alejandro?
Honestly, this weekend's just going to be a little bit of an experiment, so it's hard to tell some things, honestly.
Tell them to bear with us.
Yeah, your patience, that'd be great. But I know you guys will be, so.
Right.
Okay. Say-
Okay, thanks everybody so much for your patience with us. God bless, and bye for now.